Okay, we are live. My headphones in. All right, what's up, good people? Hope everyone is well. We're getting situated here. So Aris and I will be in the live today. Um, Again, like I said, hope you're well. You know, we are gearing up for our spring equinox season, our fall equinox season. We've been focusing on the fall equinox. Let me get myself situated here. And so the last few weeks we've been focusing on detoxification. This week we're going to really talk about, we're going to answer your questions, and we're going to talk about, some of the expectations of the retreat. I'm going to ask Reese some questions about some of his experiences. You know, uh, I got started working with Aris back in 2003. So we're coming up on 20 years. So really, pretty much then, it's been either he and I or myself. Been doing retreats. Been blessed to take people out of these environments and to show them sort of a different way. What's interesting in the times that we have, take this light out, in the times that we are in today, that's something I think all of us need to really begin to think about. Um, we really need to, like, regardless of where you at. So we know ideally we can really be in a, one of these, equatorial environments where it's pretty much temperate throughout the year. Uh, a lot of us, for whatever the reason, are in these other environments that are more manipulated so that they are more comfortable for human beings. I'm here in Washington, D.C. Um, Not as bad as probably if you go further up north, but the winters can get pretty cold here. We usually do see a little bit of snow, um, and so again, I think that it's important. We all know the importance of vitamin D, and I think it's important to consider, whether it's a weekend or at least a week out of the year. All right, so I'm going to bring a recent, and he's here.
Okay.
All right, all right. Greetings.
All right. How you doing, Khepra?
Good, good. All right. Yes, yes. Okay. Are you going to be on Instagram, or we just doing it on here? I think he froze up. Hmm.
Greetings.
Oh, okay.
Greetings. Okay,
All
here
right.
we
You're
are.
back. You're back.
All
Okay.
right. So
Okay.
we're here on IG as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me get you. Let me get that moving. I gotta get my headphones. Okay. Did you freeze again? Oh, I think he froze again.
here in Panama.
Okay, you is frozen again.
Yeah, it seems like it keeps freezing here.
Okay. Okay. All right, we connected. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna request to come in. I already requested. All right. Well, please bear with us as we work out these kinks. He froze up on Instagram as well. All right. So again, as I was saying, being in these environments, certainly makes a difference. I can certainly attest that is, even just leaving a week out of the year. Usually, I'll retreat. Over the last 7, 8 years, I would do a retreat in Jamaica, sometime usually in February, right at the end of winter season, and get that nice vitamin D hit, and just really breathe some different air, get in the water, those kinds of things. So it's really important to, I believe, if you're going to be committed to being in these environments, for whatever your reason, is to sort of schedule. Let's see when he connects to both. Okay, so maybe what might have to happen if he's on IG, we're gonna try to have it where he can hear it. You can hear him talk, um, from my phone, and because I'm not sure he'll be able to be on the live with me here on YouTube. So let's see here. All right, so I guess since I'm here and while we wait, um, if anyone has any questions, I really wanted to. I had some questions for Reese, and we were really gonna. That was the plan anyway. So I didn't really want to get into any kind of monologue. I really wanted to, get the conversation going with him, and then really kind of open up the floor. If anybody had any to answer all your, if you had any questions regarding health protocols, food, recipes, etc. Um, so if any of you are watching live, if you have any questions, I'll take and answer the questions to the best of my ability. Again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and like and share with the family. Okay. Mm. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and take some questions. I want to say peace again to the family. Again, my apologies. We're not the experts with this technology. We do the best to try to stream these platforms and try to reach as many people as we can. But it seems like week to week there's a new challenge. So this week, definitely not being the exception. So my brother, truth be told, is asking how much protein do we need? Uh, not not such getting enough, honestly. Okay. Yeah. So protein. It's a great question. I think one of the things when I think about protein is how, it almost seems like if it has a lot of protein, it must be healthy. It must be good. Like protein is like, it's just something I mean, you never hear about not about either getting too much protein. We never hear that, or we never even are trained to even question, like, okay, am I getting actually too much protein? Um, so that's one way to really think about it, because the thing is that I honestly feel like we are getting too much protein. A lot of the foods that we eat, I feel like it's really more about marketing. Different food industries marketing protein. Because I mean, obviously, if you're eating animal products, um, these foods come at higher concentrations of protein. And really, when we look at the plant kingdom and we look at anything that has a mass, has just whether it's fiber, just by it being something you can hold and touch, that very just for that very reason alone, it has protein. So, protein is in really anything we got to chew. So whether it be all of our fruits, definitely our vegetables, our nuts, seeds, um, green leafy vegetables, these are things that all have protein. And of course, with the nuts and seeds and things that, the greens, those going to have more protein than, let's say, our fruits, for example. But there's no protein deficiency that I don't know if anyone ever, I mean, you never hear about somebody dying or getting sick because they have a protein deficiency. I mean, I'm sure there's always outliers and rare cases, but for the most part, you know, nobody's dying of protein deficiency. At least not in the modern world, and in these countries like this. If anything, people were really suffering from too much protein. Um, in fact, too much protein can actually, it's been scientifically proven that a high protein diet is a cancer causing diet. Any diet where you're eating lots of, again, concentrated forms of nutrition. I mean, family, you got to think, what are we mostly made up of? What are we mostly made up of? Made up of water. Okay, and so water always has to be at the heart. Really, the breath. It starts with the breath because we're breathing all the time, and then from there, it's water. We drink water. And going from we start looking at different plants and different things that we're meant to eat. It's the fruits that have the highest level of water. Okay, so coconut being at the top, and actually in the water of coconut water there's no protein, but then we have the jelly. So we have protein forming in the jelly of the coconut. So even the coconut has protein. Got Then we go down the line with our melons. From watermelon has protein. Our citrus, even if you juice the citrus, in the juice has protein. So we really, we're really not. Again, the two exceptions. There's a growing child and a pregnant expectant mother, and even a breastfeeding mother. Those are really the only situations where the rules change somewhat. But for the most part, for everyone else, protein is really about marketing, and I think it's really more mental than anything. Especially when we realize, how far we can go without food. We can go days, weeks, months without food. So, good question. Um, yeah, I think for the most part we get in too much protein. Right. All right. Let's see. Next question. What are my thoughts on enemas? Are they a part of your health protocol? Also, I saw your interview with Kelly Starr, and I wonder which protocols have you incorporated? Yo, it's crazy. Yo, that's a great question. I was actually speaking on that interview today because I was sharing about that interview I did with her. So really quickly to answer one of the questions, other than the urine and the urine therapy, I haven't, at least not lately. I haven't done any of the protocols that we discussed. Nonetheless, over the years, I have, namely the liver flush. The liver flush is powerful. I wanted to do one, just haven't really made the time and set the intention to do it. But for those of y'all, I mean, I think it's really good to talk about. I'll spend a few minutes on like some of the things we did discuss. Liver flush, enemas, or colonics, in addition to urine therapy. If you haven't seen my videos on the interview I did with Kelly Starr, we talked about urine therapy, but we also talked about some other health protocols. Some of them I was familiar with, some of them I wasn't. I know the one that I wasn't familiar with and I haven't done so I can't attest to it, is the turpentine. So again, that's like some indigenous, goes back to the slave days. People have written about it. So I would suggest, if you're interested, check out the interview, check out the resources that we included. If you're interested in looking into that, but I can definitely speak on colonics, enemas, liver flushes. They aren't a part of my protocol. It's part of my habitual protocol. And Aris is back in the house. Let's see. All right, you back with us? All right. Well, we'll see until he unfreezes. I don't see him live. Okay, so yeah, they're not a part of my my weekly or monthly or yearly protocol as of late. I've been doing mainly the urine. Urine is part of my daily protocol. The liver flush, enemas, colonics. Um, if you haven't done a liver flush, look into that. It's something you might want to do. So, Aris, you in the house? You hear me? Okay. Okay. So yeah. So I would consider doing a liver flush now if you. Oh, okay. Yes. You gonna pay with a card? You could bring the machine to me. Um. Oh. So you're doing 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the only thing that I would say as far as these protocols is that the reason why I don't do them is because while they can definitely be helpful and useful, you don't want them to become crutches. One of the things that I'm a big believer, and Reese would definitely back me up on this, is that we have to use our food as medicine. Oh, you have to pack it. You know how to do it. So it's 1 through 6.
Just 1 through 6.
Four times.
4 times?
Yeah, 4 times. Yeah, excuse me. So you don't want these things to become like crutches, especially colonics. Colonics, like people who, because even mentally it's like, okay, it sort of gives me the freedom to eat this and eat that. I know I'm going to get a colonic. You see what I'm saying? People even use herbs as crutches as well. And I think even the same with liver flush. But if you're interested in doing the liver flush, I would say like really plan. It's a 2-day process if you're not using herbs. I've never done a herbal liver flush. I've used basically the protocol. You can probably find it somewhere online, but basically it's a recipe where you're drinking an Epsom salt concoction the first day. So along with not eating any fat. So you can do fruit, you can do water, and basically you're on like a fast, and you're drinking like an Epsom salt concoction. So water, Epsom salt. Again, look for the recipe online. There's a liver. You can go to curezone.com or .org, and there's an Epsom salt. It tell you how much Epsom salt, what's how much water. Maybe add some lemon, lime to it, and you drink that like every 2 hours, starting from I believe like 2 p.m. So 2, 4, 6, 8, and then at 10 p.m. you're drinking. It's either a half a cup or a full cup. I believe it's a half a cup of, extra virgin olive oil, and you want to like basically cut it with like fresh grapefruit juice. So it's like half a cup of grapefruit juice, along with like the grapefruit juice allows you to really kind of ingest it. And what happens is, what the Epsom salts do is really open up the channels to the gallbladder and the liver. It like opens up the valves, and the olive oil really comes down to be the driver to drive out all of the debris that like ends up choking the gallbladder and the liver, and then the next day is going to come out in your stool. So the thing is that, again, it's like a 2-day process, and really what you want to do is they say you get out like somewhere from a couple of hundred each with each flush, but we may have a couple of thousand between the liver and gallbladder, and you want to do a series of them, similar to how you do a series of colonics. You want to do a series of them, like I would say maybe at least 6 to 12 flushes, liver flushes that is, and but you want to space them out. You don't want to do them back to back. You want to maybe space them out at least a week to 2 weeks apart. So it could be something you do for like over like maybe a 2, 3, 4 month period, where every other week you're doing a liver flush. And then you can kind of witness for yourself the changes, how your body feels. I mean, people have reported like just an overall sense of good vibration, good healing. I mean, especially for those, I mean, I know of people who've gotten their gallbladder removed. I mean, Western medicine is basically designed to basically cut out vital organs, and when we cut out something that was, God put there, whether it's an appendix, tonsils, gallbladder, whatever it is, there's no reversing that. Really the best remedy is to get in front of this, do the prevention. And then once we get to a rhythm where we've changed our diet for the better, then we don't have to necessarily go with these protocols per se. But definitely, if you haven't seen that interview, you want to check that out. I learned a lot from it, and everything I said about the liver flush, I can definitely say to the colonic. Colonics and liver flushes are not something we want to rely on. That's my only issue with the live stream. With the live stream, I'm tripping. I'm trying to do so many things at once. That's my only issue with doing colonics and liver flushes. But they're powerful healing protocols, especially if we're just really getting started on this journey, and we want to sort of kind of help things along the way as we begin to change our dietary cravings and habits. All right, so what do you tell clients that heavily depend on herbs and detox instead of live foods? They don't always show the instant effect. Plus, and again, this really, speaks to just what I was talking about. I mean, food is such an addiction. They don't always show the instant effect. it's by far and away probably the most difficult thing that we can change. In terms of making the change for the better. But when we're able to make those changes, there's lifelong adjustments and changes to our diet. Herbs again. Herbs are designed to overstimulate the system. Herbs are definitely powerful medicine. Powerful medicine. But once our diet, there's the old Ayurvedic saying, if diet is correct, if diet is incorrect, medicine is of no use. If diet is correct, medicine is of no need. So, we got to remember that the food is the medicine and the medicine is the food. And, when I look at medicinal herbs or any herb, culinary or medicinal, I look at it as one thing, food. And, with the food, so anything that we see, like that should be a part of your caloric intake. And when we're doing that, we're doing better than most. And I think we're really tapping into our ideal, what how we're meant to feel, how we're meant to operate, how we're meant to move, and how we're meant to be as human beings, in this vessel. But just to finish up, again, because the thing is like what I found is that a lot of folks that like really want to more so rely on herbs, they just don't want to change their diet. They don't want to change their cravings. Again, the food addiction is real. And when you say herb, obviously we think of the probably one of the king or queens of all herbs, which is the cannabis. And Aris and I have talked about smoking cannabis and the dangers that presents. Again, we're not against cannabis, and I think there's a place for CBD, and definitely the healing properties of cannabis, whether it be in the THC form or whether it be in CBD, etc. However, when you're heating it, you're changing the chemical composition. That's a scientific fact. And by heating it, it's like you're really bringing out almost the best and the worst of the plant. It's going to create the quote unquote munchies, and only because again it's not an ideal form in terms of how we're meant to intake it. So I find that to be the case too, because again, if there's as long as a person is really, enjoys the recreational use of smoking, putting flame to the cannabis, it's like, those people I find tend to kind of want to, be connected with just herbs in general versus changing their diet, because maybe they like the feeling of eating the heavy food along with you know, with the recreational use of smoking it. Yeah. So follow up question with the liver flush. Yeah, you really have to do the. My experience, you really have to do the Epsom salt. The Epsom salt is what really opens up those channels. I have not personally used primarily just drinking a lot of apple juice, and because with the apple juice, I mean, if you're juicing apples, I mean that can be a pretty rich juice. Um, it may be possible that can open up, but I don't believe that it could open up those channels the same way that Epsom salts can. Yeah, smoking the herb is safer than driving the car every day. Hey, you probably speaking facts, my brother. So, but again, you know, yes, if we're all here, you know, on this planet doing our thing to do our best, and if smoking is what you enjoy doing, then more power. But for when I hear about herbs and people talking about using herbs, again, those things, at least in terms of as medicine, uh, again, I go back to the Ayurvedic principle. When diet is correct, medicine is of no use. If diet is or diet is incorrect, medicine is of no use. If diet is correct, medicine is of no need. So it's a timeless, ageless statement that we should all live by. Um, yeah, so I'm going to check in. That's all the questions I see for right now. If I'm going to check back in with Aris, see what his status is. I'm going to see him on Instagram. He's having some challenges with his internet. All right. All right. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, if there's any more questions, I'll take questions. I guess we'll be on until hopefully we can get the good doctor on, and really get a chance to share with the family. Um, like I said, I'll take questions while we wait, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to call him and see. So I'm gonna give him. I'm giving him a call here. So let's see what's going on with him. All right, he's not picking up. All right, family. Well, one thing I didn't talk about, if y'all been interested in coming to share with us in Panama, we are having a sale on the certification retreat coming up on the 27th of this month, and the 27th of this month. We'll be discounting the retreat $300. So instead of the price of $29.70, we'll be charging $26.70. All right, let's him call in. A second. And okay. Okay. You want me to resend you the link? I could resend you the link. Or what you want to do? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, what do you want to? Right. Do you? Yeah. Do you want to? Do you want to try it tomorrow? Yeah, I heard you. I said, do you want to try tomorrow? No, I didn't hear the last thing you said. Okay. Do you want to try tomorrow? Yeah, he's not really hearing me. So, all right, we got this. All right. Well, I'm gonna try to bring him back on tomorrow. So, family, again, thank you all for tuning in. I'm gonna spend a few more minutes on here. I'll take a few more questions. But again, I want to say that we are having a sale. We're having a sale for the September 27th certification. You can go on my website and check out the link. Send me an email or a message, whether through Facebook or email through my website, keprasrawfoodjuicebar.com. If you're interested, again, like we have a discount. Payment is due by this Friday. So anyone interested, definitely let me know. We love to have you. And again, so we got a few more questions here. Um, so what's my thoughts on salt? Well, salt is one of those things that is, I think, has been like very divisive. Um, it's been very divisive in the health community. Um, I feel like, me personally, and again, I'm basing this really purely on my experience. That I mean, there is a place for salt, just like there is a place for fat. There's a place for sugar. There's a place for all the things that we demonize in the health community, and salt. I think probably more so than the others gets really a bad rap. And obviously, if you're eating like these commercialized salt, the chemicals added to this, these salts are going to be damaging. But for the most part, probably one of the healthiest forms of at least additional salt is the black salt. The black salt that comes, depending on where you may reside, you can go to the Indian market and get the black salt. And the black salt is actually pink in color, and it really differs from like all of the other forms of salt, like Himalayan pink salt or Celtic gray mineral salt, um, in the sense that it's not a rock; it's more of a powder. Um, Aris can really explain it well, how it's created and harvested. But and I really like this the flavor of the black salt, just personally. But I definitely feel like I know for a fact that there is a place for salt in our diets. I mean, we talk about getting it from food, tomatoes, celery, coconut water. Coconut water, yes, has some salt. So a lot of our foods naturally have some sodium. Adding some additional sodium, I think, at least from a culinary standpoint, is okay. Um, but obviously, any type of commercialized salt you want to really avoid and really stay away from. Oh, okay. Oh, hold on one second, family. All right. So, but yes, salt is for the most part alkaline. I mean, I think last week I touched on the sea vegetables, or seaweed. I mean, these things are extremely salty. Um, and the thing is like when we look at our bodies are really made up of how our earth is made up, and what is the greatest part of our earth is the ocean. And what is the ocean? The ocean is a salty water, salt water, and that's the largest part of what we're made of, is the salt water. So salt, and just like fat, just like sugar, all should be ingested in its proper balanced state that nature gives to us. When we take these things and adulterate them, and manipulate them, process them, heat them, strip them, etc., that's when these things become dangerous. But salt in and of itself is, in my opinion, especially I think once you are on this path for some years, some decades, yes, we need salt. Just like we need oxygen, we need sugar, we need fat, we need some level of protein. So that's my views on salt. All right, all right. Yes, yes. So yes, my brother says that black salt does have a sulfur properties to it. You can smell the sulfur. So yes, family. So we're gonna leave it there. Again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I apologize. We didn't really, we've been making some classic streams. Some great information has been coming through, and we're going to try this again tomorrow. So if you're a subscriber, you'll get notified. But like the video, subscribe, share it. Um, and I'm gonna finish with this last question. This is a good question. It's a great question because I talk about this a lot, and especially for us men, us brothers, that we're always really focused on testosterone. Um, so yes, so I think that if I'm correct, and the assumption is that eating more simple, eating more raw, will can lower your testosterone. I think um, that's what people have sort of put out there as like, okay, my sex drive is not as great as you know. So I guess we can really kind of form this question for men and women. Eating raw, eating mostly very simple. Doing fasting. Because I mean, obviously, you think about your fasting. Your energy is not going to be. I mean, you have highs and lows with fasting. But for in large part, like I don't recommend necessarily engaging in like a lot of sex, or any sex for that matter. Just like I don't necessarily recommend engaging in like strenuous exercise, like while fasting. And for most people, being on just raw food is like being on somewhat of a modified fast. So there's gonna be an impact. There's gonna be changes felt with the libido for men, the testosterone in women, similar feelings and similar effects. But I feel like um, uh, really, once you start to make that transition into this diet and lifestyle, that basically you'll be better off in the long run. Because the thing is that when we get on these diets, if we're coming up, especially on like heavy meat, heavy starch. A lot of people, standard American diet, and even the vegan diet. Vegan diet has basically mimicked the standard American diet. It's basically just no animal products. So, but still, it's like, these mock meats have replaced like animal meats, animal fibers and tissues. Um, and with animal fibers and tissues, along with the starch, that's creating like a high concentration of food stuff that has very little to no water. And what ends up happening, remember I said we're made up mostly of a salty ocean. So the foods that we should largely be eating is one of that nature. So the thing is that initially, yes, this can lower the libido and the sex drive, and I feel that this is a good thing, because if we're eating these like very concentrated diets and foodstuffs, it's, in my view, it's going to overexcite the sex organs. What happens when like our young girls start to eat this way is that their menstrual cycle will come much earlier than it should. So so because of that, what's happening with that is that's speeding up the life cycle. By speeding up the life cycle, basically that's shortening the whole lifespan. So what's happened with the brothers? What's happened with the men? Again, the libido and the sex drive is being overly excited, and again, that's going to exhaust the sex organs, because again, the body is like, look, I'm on a path of early retirement, of checking out sooner than I should. So the body is saying like, look, I gotta reproduce quicker than I should. Versus if you're eating I mean, we know from, like one of the when we look at like Chinese herbal medicine, and they try to knock raw food because they say it's very cooling. What's wrong with, to me, I don't see anything wrong with that. What's wrong with having a naturally cooling diet? Because while yes, it may cool the libido and calm the libido, but we're talking like in exchange, maybe extending your lifespan 20, 30 years, and extending your lifespan 20, 30 years versus like, because again, it's like, let's say we can have sex, I don't know, 10,000 times, right? But they say like, after that 10,000 time, that's pretty much it, right? So is that going to happen in a short time span, or are you going to stretch that out so that, maybe you have sex once a year, and it's like, boom, you can really extend that vitality out. And it's the same with food. If we're really addicted to food, people are eating 2, 3, 4 times a day with snacks, just overexhausting the system. So, testosterone, libido, it's all really very interesting, because, this is a diet that's definitely going to promote longevity. And while it may cool out your testosterone and your libido, it's all, at least for me, about the journey and enjoying the journey, extending the journey. So I'm enjoying the journey and extending the journey, not necessarily being overly excited. But then when I need to call upon it, it's ready. When I need to call upon it, it's ready for action. So there's definitely not, because we know. I mean, I've seen it. When I had my shop on 8th Street. Shout out to my elder, my brother Nate, who had Dynamic Wellness. But he and I both will tell you his top selling product was the Mojo pills. The brothers would come through there because their stuff don't work. Their stuff don't work. They're eating all this garbage that's clogging up all the plumbing and all the pipes. And when they have a date for that night, they can't get it up. They can't get it up. So With this diet and this lifestyle, you would never have that issue. Um, for our women, it's the same thing, because if you're eating these concentrated foods, heavy starches and heavy either meat or mock meat products, this thing is going to really damage your sensitive feminine tissues. If anything, we want that to be like the ocean. And brothers and sisters, y'all know what I'm talking about. We don't want that to be stagnant and dry, and so somebody asked about the protein foods earlier. No, our sisters don't need to be on this heavy protein. Yeah, it's one thing if you got a growing baby in there, but you know, um, again, slow and steady wins the race. We want to really extend this journey. One of my favorite animals is the turtles. I mean, we got some varieties of turtles that live 200 years. I'm like, how is it that, I mean, we're supposed to be like the walking gods of the earth. How is turtles outliving human beings? How is turtles outliving human beings? But they move slow. They move slow, and I feel like we live. We're living these fast lives. Again, we're eating too much. Uh, we're eating wrong. Because we eat wrong, we eat too much of those foods, and those foods again will overexcite the organs, especially the sex organs, and uh, uh, we will just exhaust them. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. Brothers turn 40 and 50. It's like, forget about it. It's like I mean, why we see Cialis and Viagra becoming so big. Like, I mean, there's no, again, being on this diet, being on this lifestyle, at least from a libido standpoint, you know, we definitely want to understand, like, yeah, this is how we should want to live. And this is how we want those things to work, especially when we call upon them. So again, we're gonna try to make it happen tomorrow. Again, just having some internet issues over there in Panama. So, but again, thank y'all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see y'all tomorrow.